and thank you for being here today.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. So I guess we're going to get started off with Paul taking you on a tour of HealthTree University.
Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right, can everyone see that okay?
I can see so far.
Okay, good. So this is the HealthTree University as it is right now. And we built all of our websites, Cure Hub, University, Myeloma Crowd, and Coach on different tech platforms. And we don't need to get into too much technical stuff, but for the past year, we've been trying to put them all on one platform together. And so things will start looking a little bit differently and feeling a little bit differently in HealthTree. So this is the new HealthTree University. I'll go ahead into the homepage here. And I think today we'll actually change it so the site redirects to this homepage. So you should be able to see that today or tomorrow. So some changes we have coming for starters, for some changes we have coming to HealthTree University include adding some features like a store where you can buy prizes using points that you've earned from taking quizzes and watching videos. We're going to add watch history so you can go back and see what you watched like a day ago or a week ago. So it's easier to find things that you've been using. We've also added a feature to search by faculty. So say you want to look for all the videos with Dr. Maury Gertz. You can actually type in his name and you can see all the videos where we have Maury talking about myeloma basics, becoming an empowered patient, your labs, precursor conditions, bone disease, precision medicine, and COVID. And all you have to do for that is and it works the same thing with lessons and courses. So I can search for myeloma basics part 3, and it'll show me myeloma basics part 3. Or I can search for COVID, and it'll show me the COVID unit. And then you can also search for specific videos. So if I want to search for specialists, you can find videos for what is a myeloma specialist, why do I need one, how do I find one, and if you have a precursor condition, should I see a specialist or seek treatment for MGUS or smoldering myeloma? Or if you want to search bone disease, you can see a basics video about bone disease or the whole myeloma bone disease unit. So we've tried to make it a powerful experience for you to be able to find what you're looking for quickly. We will be adding the ability to search through the transcript of the lesson, so you can actually search through the video itself and not just the title of the video. So if a doctor in a starting myeloma treatment video happens to mention transplant, then it'll appear on more videos, not just the video where they mention transplant. We've also added some features. So if you, for the filtering, so if you want to only see the videos you've watched, you can right click over here where it says all courses, and you can click completed courses. So I want to see all the ones I've completed. Or if you just want to see the ones that you haven't completed, you can click uncompleted courses. You can get this list of videos that you haven't finished yet. You can see all the basic courses, like myeloma basics part 1, 2, and 3, or more advanced courses like genetics. You can also see the bookmark courses. So these are the 5, 6 courses, 7 courses I bookmarked. We still have that on the sidebar as well, where it's been in the past.
Hey, Paul, can you explain what it means to bookmark a course?
Yeah, sure. So if you are excited about a certain video or you want to watch it later, you can just click on the side here and click bookmark. And when you do that, it will show up in your bookmarked courses. So there's the video I saved for later. And if I uncheck the bookmark, it will disappear from that list. So if I remove the bookmark, they won't appear in bookmark courses anymore. And then if I bookmark a specific lesson, it'll appear in my bookmarks.
And that may be good if there's something that you watched and maybe you want to talk to your doctor about, you could bookmark that course and bring it in to your doctor or share it with a family member or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Also, in addition to bookmarks, we created a note-taking feature. So if you are watching a video about plasma cell disorders and think you should look up dyscrasias later, you just click this button down here that says take notes, and it'll tell you that it auto saves just now, so you can be confident that your notes are saved. And you can close that, and if you go to your notebook on the left here, you can see all your notes from all the lessons. So what are the different types of plasma cell disorders, and you can see your note, and you can edit your note as well. And again, you can see that auto save just now. So you can have confidence that all your notes are being saved. There are a few bugs still, which we could use your help finding. For example, today we found out that sometimes it'll show a note here, even though you didn't take a note. So one of the things, so little things like that we're still finding, and we could use your help to find all those bugs and squish them. If you want to give us feedback on a lesson or on a feature, at the bottom of every lesson, there is a feedback button. If you click give us feedback, you can say the note taking feature shows blank notes and click submit. And that's how you can give us feedback. So at the bottom of every lesson. Let me know if that was...
If there was something about the content that you didn't understand or thought maybe we need to add more to that content, you give us feedback at that point too.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to say, oh, this content in this video is old, and you can hit submit, and there's more feedback for us. So that's a good comment. Now this is the lesson page. So we went from the courses page and clicked on a specific lesson. And here you can see the course and the lesson number. You can see all the other lessons in the course. So you can go from lesson 1.6 to 1.9, 1.12, and back to 1.6, like that. So it's the way to easily navigate between lessons. You can see the lesson unit and name. You can scroll through the video or just watch the video. You can see the transcript of the video. Now we know that this isn't the most user-friendly transcript, so we're going to work on ways to make this more readable, have punctuation and full sentences, all that kind of stuff. So thank you for your feedback on that already. You can see the doctors that are tagged in this video. So in this video, we have Dr. Robert Kyle and Irene Gobriel, two myeloma experts that are world famous.
And we're going to be working on adding chapters to the videos in the future. So more than one question is asked, you'll be able to find that chapter.
Yeah, so instead of having to watch the whole video, if you want to just know something specific, like what is high risk MGUS or something like that, or high risk smoldering myeloma. Yeah, there's no such thing as high risk MGUS, sorry, high risk smoldering myeloma. Then you can jump to that chapter in the video. So that's another feature we'll be adding soon. You can see the faculty, and you can also see the quizzes. So when you take these quizzes, we show you instant feedbacks to help you quickly learn. And then once you have finished a quiz, you can move on to the next video. Let's see, we've covered the notebook and bookmark lessons. We have this library feature. This is the new site, so we haven't filled it out much yet, but we want to post a lot of useful resources here for you. And then we have our full list of faculty. So you can see I think about 100 myeloma specialists now that we're working with in HealthTree University who have helped us build out this curriculum. And these are all the top people. These are the ones inventing the drugs and doing all the research, and we're very grateful for their participation in the program. Just show you a quick preview of the new features we're going to be making. First of all, we're going to try out making the navigation kind of like Netflix or YouTube. So you can see the video thumbnail and scroll through a whole lesson like this. So if you have, here you have Myeloma Basics Part 1. Instead of a list of videos, it's a bunch of thumbnails. And then you can see the points you've earned for that lesson. And we're going to create a points store or rewards shop where you can redeem however many points you've earned with different prizes. Now, this isn't the actual number of points I've earned or the number of points. These prizes we'll figure that out later. But we're planning on offering things like free admittance to a roundtable or to a myeloma conference like ASH or ASCO, or giving you some HealthTree swag. And so you'll be able to take all your hard work from all the HealthTree University videos that you've watched and turn that into fun experiences.
And if anyone on the call has ideas of what they might want to cash in those points for, please send them to me or to Paul. This way we could consider them too in our store. Let us know what you need or what you would like. And we try to keep them more based on things that will help you become an empowered patient, things that would educate you. And so keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. And then the other feature we'll be adding soon is a watch history. So you'll be able to go back and see the lessons you watched today or last week or last month. So that is a preview into the new version of HealthTree University and the new features we're going to be rolling out in the next couple months.
Okay. And Paul is going to do all the magic of, I'm going to tell him what to do. And I'll be going over just some of the things that are in the curriculum now and in which direction we're going to be moving into, and then opening up for questions from the audience. So Paul, can you put the course page back up, please?
Of course.
It's so nice to have someone so techie to do all this. I tell Paul my ideas and he makes them happen. So if we look at the courses right now, in the beginning, the Get Started video is basically an overview of what Paul just took you through right now, why we created it and how to use it. So if you forget how to use the features, that's where you would get started. Now, the first three courses that we have are the Myeloma Basics 1, 2, and 3. And they're basically designed just to give you a general overview of the things that you probably heard or might need to know about myeloma. And they were recorded a while ago, so we know some of them need to be a little updated, but most of them are on target now. And actually continuing, I always tell Paul, this is an ongoing revolving curriculum. So we will probably be adding some courses to Myeloma Basics as we start. I know sometimes in one of the Facebook groups or Smart Patients, and I see a question that maybe a new person is asking to the group, and I go back to HealthTree University to see if we have an answer to that question. And if we don't, I make it on my list of things that we need to add to the curriculum. So these are just very, very basic information, but words that you might have heard your doctor talk about, and things that probably will help you at beginning step of your journey. But it's also good. I mean, there might be some videos in myeloma basics that someone who's been living with myeloma for a while really don't know the answer to that. So they might want to go back and look at some of those questions. After myeloma basics, we're starting building your healthcare team. Who should be on your healthcare team and why? And, and that is something that we're continuing working on, and then becoming an empowered patient. And in that unit, basically, we have many patients who are empowered patients talking about how they became their own best advocate, how they educated themselves, how they found a support group. But we also have some doctors speaking in that unit as to why it's important to be an educated and empowered patient. So
yeah, I think so both you and Jim O'Mell, who's on the call today, are in that unit. So if you want to watch those videos from you and from Jim, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
About building your healthcare team and becoming an empowered patient.
And then further down, it's starting myeloma treatment. And if you click on that, Paul, it just talks about some of the basics, like when should you start treatment? What does that word induction mean? And what's the goals? And this one, some of the common drug regimes in induction therapy, I know that one's going to have to be updated soon because it's changing. We're going now from 3 drugs to possibly 4 drugs. So that one may need to be updated, but it talks just about the basics, but also what factors should be considered by both you and your healthcare team. What does the word consolidation mean? I mean, these are all words that were thrown at me when I was starting treatment. I really didn't understand the difference. What is maintenance therapy? Why should I consider maintenance therapy, especially if I'm in a complete remission? And it goes all the way through, like, okay, now that I'm starting treatment, how are you going to know if my treatment's working? What tests are going to be used? And at what point might I need to consider stopping therapy? And if you also see at the bottom of each unit, we also, after the lessons, we have what's called a guest lecture. And what these guest lectures are basically mostly taken from our myeloma crowd roundtables. And if at a roundtable, a doctor was talking about a topic that was in this unit, instead of going there and adding it, in the beginning, we would be adding them to lessons, and it just became overwhelming to add them to lessons. So now what we're doing is adding them as guest lectures at the end of the unit that they're best part of. So at the end of this unit will be guest lectures on starting treatment, or how to choose a treatment, or what the evolving landscape looks like. So if we go down to the next unit, Paul. And this was one that it's still in beta, but it's almost completely finished. And we knew it was really important. So now that you're starting therapy, you want to learn about what therapy you're on. How's it taken? How's it administered? What are the side effects? How can we manage these side effects? What company is making this drug? So this way you could reach out to that company, because many of them have patient support programs. So in this unit, it's all the FDA approved drugs for myeloma are featured. And once again, we have myeloma specialists who have used these drugs, explaining them, their uses, their side effects, ways to manage side effects, just anything you might need to know about that drug. And down the bottom of that same unit, we did kind of group together some of the older drugs, Know Your Therapy, Know your therapy. Some of the alkylating agents, so like melphalan, Cytoxin, Belfusin, I don't even know how to say all those things, but those are some of the, not, some of the older alkylating agents, but we talk about what alkylating agents are. We're talking about bisphosphonate therapy, radiation therapy. So, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in the Dex video as well.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool. We're still working on, we know that we don't have the Xgeva video up yet because the doctor that I was planning on interviewing on Xgeva really didn't feel that he was an expert and didn't want to talk that much on it because he really doesn't use Xgeva very often. So we're just trying to find a doctor who feels very comfortable talking about it so it can provide you with the best information. So we know we're missing that one, but if there's something else that we're missing in that unit that you think, and going back beta, if you saw that word beta next to it, that means that they're not finished videos, but we feel that there were valuable enough information in them that we didn't want to wait till they were finished with all the graphics and the voiceovers and the animations and whatever else that we add to those videos. So that's what beta means, that we know they're not perfect, but we really think you could benefit from them. And the next unit, if we go a little further down, is Know Your Labs. And they talk about, if you click on that, just some of those basic labs, like what are they? What's the IFE, and what's the SPEP, and what's a UPEP, and why do they do 24-hour urine samples, and what are my light chains, and why do we measure them, and what's a bone marrow biopsy? And we're adding some of the newer texts like mass fix, and we'll probably be adding, we have a whole section on MRD, MRD negativity, and as MRD is starting to, or MRD testing, but as MRD testing is starting to become more standard of care, it's not quite there yet, but as it becomes there, we probably add it to the testing. And that testing there is basically myeloma testing, that's used to monitor your response to treatment. And yeah. So if we go to the next unit, we have a whole unit, since most people are still doing autologous stem cell transplant. It's everything you wanted to know about transplant, and even actually an interview with someone who's gone through transplant. So here it is. And once again, sometimes I add to this unit just because I see some questions that we don't have answered. I know some people were talking about using those cold caps on your head and ice, the chirotherapy. So we're adding some things to this unit too. So the next unit, Paul, would be, I can't remember them all, is about precursor conditions. So if you don't quite have myeloma yet, but you have MGUS or smoldering myeloma, this is something on there. We usually for this unit really target the doctors who are actively investigating the precursor conditions because they really know everything. And this is a unit that we need to go back and revamp every so often because it's being changed. Things that were talked about 3 years ago are different today. So, and that's why we ask your help. Like if you're watching a video and that video has some outdated information, please send us a note on that. So that could be added to one of the top of our list to get it updated. So we're not providing old information. I try to do that whenever I go to meetings, get the updated information and add it, but sometimes I just miss something. So I could use the help. Then we go to the relapse refractory myeloma and what it means, what's the difference between relapse and refractory, what's a biochemical relapse as opposed to a clinical relapse, at what point do you change treatment, what are some of the considerations you should use, when should you consider clinical trial, and once again, some very good guest lectures that we've had on this very topic that would even go into a deeper discussion. After that, we're moving on to Unit 12, which talks about classes of drugs. So we're talking about what's an IMiD, what's a proteasome inhibitor, what's an alkylating agent, and what are these signs? So it's just giving you a general idea when your doctor's talking about, when we treat you, we want to choose drugs from different classes. We don't want to have 3 IMiDs together, or we want to choose an IMiD and a PI and this, and what are these drugs and how do they fit into these categories? And, with new immunotherapy, it's just a basic overview of what immunotherapy is in that initial classes of drugs. And this is the unit I've been working on very diligently now, and it's going to look very different from this when it comes out of beta. But what is immunotherapy? What are antibody drug conjugates? What are bispecific antibodies, CAR T cells? What are NK cells? We'll even talk about some of the checkpoint inhibitors, anything, myeloma vaccines. This unit, as you can see right now, is just a mess in the way it's organized. So we spent a lot of time reorganizing it. Actually, we divided it into 2 units, one that's on immunotherapy, and the second unit would be a deeper dive into CAR T cell therapy, because we really had a lot of videos on CAR T cell therapy. So we would briefly mention it in the immunotherapy unit, but the next unit that's not even here because it's still being developed will be CAR T cell. We have myeloma bone disease that just is a focus on bone disease itself. And if we go a little further down, imaging. And, this was, once again, we kind of talked to some of the experts in the imaging, the people who are, pushing the buttons and making the changes and talking about the different types of imaging, skeletal surveys and whole body MRIs and whole body CT scans, and when do you use which and why do you use which. So this whole unit is on imaging. And we also talk a little bit about the new guidelines. The IMW came up with some new guidelines on imaging. So next unit was on, can't keep track of them all, MRD testing. And, actually, I know some of the videos in this are a little older and we're updating them. We just had a whole guest lecture on MRD testing that we're going to add here from when I attended the IMW, when Doctors Morgan and Davies were talking about it. Like, what is it? Why is it valuable? Should we be using it to make treatment decisions? How do we get it? So, and these are topics that are in debate. So usually if there's a controversy about the topic, should we use it to make treatment decisions? Shouldn't we use it to make treatment decisions? Then we try to get people talking about each part, and maybe, I know there's so much going on with MRD testing, and we're using it a lot more in clinical trials and seeing, trying to validate when we should be using it. So this is the basic overview of MRD testing and what it is for people. And I'm sure it will be changing because it's a hot topic right now. And then we had so much information on genetics that we had to develop it into 3 units. And one of the units is just, what are these words that doctors are talking about? Like, what's a chromosome? What's a gene? What's this? What's that? Because doctors talk about it, but we might not even have the very basics of what is DNA, So this is the basics. And then we kind of move along through that to the next unit, like what are the genetics that we really need to know about just for myeloma? What are the myeloma genetics that you're hearing your doctor talk about? And the next unit is the types of genetic testing that are currently being used. And what do those tests do? Are they on the bone marrow? Are they on the blood? Why would you use that type of test? And the next one talks about, and we're adding to this too, is specific mutations that you have and what that means. And are there any treatments directed at that mutation? So this is all about, if you have the 1114, translocation, we'll hopefully get that video in there. We have it actually in beta somewhere. It's not up yet, but we will be putting that up. So, and what does it mean? And we have a lot of information in that, on deletion of 17p, because that's a big question. What does it mean what's an allele? What does it mean to have it on one allele or two alleles? Why is it important to know the percentage of your cells that have that deletion? So what does this hypodiploid mean? So all these words that you may be hearing or your doctor may be throwing around, this is being explained. In the next unit is just, what does precision medicine mean and how is precision medicine being applied in myeloma? And I just want to get through this a little quicker because our time is going there. We have a whole unit on geriatric care and myeloma that was done by a doctor who's, a geriatrician. I don't know what the name of a doctor who specializes in geriatrics is, but the doctor who's doing this specializes in geriatrics, but also has an interest in myeloma. So she was the best person to interview for us because she knew both myeloma and geriatrics. So she's talking about that and that actually came up as a request from someone saying, well, this is all well and good, but what about the older patient? How does this apply to the older patient? So this unit is in beta and we'll be going through it. But once again, we think there's enough valuable information to keep it from you, not to keep it from you. And financial advice, we have our financial advisor just talking about financial advice that you should use, that you should look at, things that may help you through your journey. While I was at the Coach Summit, we also recorded some videos that haven't made it to beta yet, but we're planning on getting them soon to beta on what important documents do you need, getting your affairs in order. What exactly does that mean? So that will be coming up soon in our beta. Go ahead, Paul, to the next unit.
Oh yeah, I just noticed we duplicated some of our videos here. I think these are the new ones actually.
Okay, they're some of the new ones.
Yeah, so I'll go back and fix that.
Yeah, this is, yeah, so and then we're starting myeloma basics in Spanish. So I was able to interview a doctor. I don't speak a word of Spanish, so I was very trusting that when I asked him a question, he was actually answering the question I asked him. But Paul was there and Paul understands Spanish, so he assured me that these videos were on point.
Yep, they were good.
They were really good. And then we have a lot of beta videos that we're going to be putting up. We talked to, we have a section on COVID-19, and I don't think we're ever going to bring the COVID-19 videos that we have out of beta just because that information changes so quickly that these videos you will have to see when they were recorded. And that was something we learned from YouTube, that we should be putting the dates of the recording on our videos. So starting with all our new videos, we are going to add dates because it's important to know when those videos were recorded, especially in topics that are forever changing. An immunoglobulin is always going to be an immunoglobulin, and an antibody is always going to be that. But some of the other things, it's important to know, especially when we're talking about treatment and evolving treatment paradigms. And I know there's a lot that we've gone over. I know I have a lot of videos that I keep on telling, Paul, that we need to get in. So we're actually having a meeting tomorrow to talk about what videos should be going into beta next. We have like a whole unit on understanding clinical trials. We have a unit on what survivorship is and survivorship planning. Earlier this year, we started talking to some doctors about lifestyle medicine. And, so we have a lot coming up that we just haven't had a chance to get there, but we're plugging away. So I guess maybe now might be a good time to open up to any questions we may have or suggestions for units that we don't have or anything. Okay, Vicky asks, should HealthTree University be fully functional for someone using iPad? Is Google Chrome recommended? Paul, that's a tech question, so.
From what I've heard from a couple patients, the iPad experience is not great. So I would recommend using either your phone or a computer, probably a computer. But we will work on improving the iPad experience. And is Google Chrome recommended? Yes. Generally, Google Chrome is the best browser for compatibility and performance reasons.
Okay.
Good question.
Awesome. And then I had a question to you, Cindy. Where do you get your inspiration? I know that you go to different conferences throughout the world regarding myeloma. Is this the main point of your inspiration, or how do you come up with these curriculum ideas?
Oh, there's different ways. First of all, I think back to when I was going through this, what questions I had. So first it was through my own experience. A lot of times, I have my phone with me and I have a whole ongoing list of questions. Like when I read through support groups that are asking each other questions and want answers, many times when I have time, I like to direct those patients back to a video that a doctor did in HealthTree University. And when I don't find something to direct them back to, then I write that down. Well, we need a video on this. So that's another. And then finally, as you said, conferences, like when I go to conferences, I'm seeing topics that are new topics. And, when I went to the IMW, there was a lot of new topics going on. So I'm fortunate, I'm able to, and the doctors are very cooperative in allowing me time to interview them. And during Zoom, we did a lot of that via, Zoom, or I would be on one side and we would send a local videographer to the doctor to get some filming. But now that maybe some of the conferences are starting to come back in person, we'll be able to talk to the doctors one-on-one. So yeah, there's many different ways. And if anyone has an idea that's on the call that would like a question answered, always you could email me, Cindy@healthtree.org, and that question will be asked. Sometimes it takes a while to get it actually up in HealthTree, but we've hired some more people and we're working on trying to get these videos that have been gathering dust, and not up into at least a beta format. Because at the Coach Summit this year, we were asking the coaches about HealthTree University, and it seemed that most of them thought that if it's valuable information, they would like to have it, whether or not it's polished or not.
Yeah, one of the things we've been struggling with is the amount of content we have, because when we started, it was just me editing the videos. And so you'll hear my voice at the beginning of all the videos because it was just me making the videos. And now we have a team of 4 or 5 video editors that are pumping out content, and we're working on another disease, AML, at the same time. So we're trying to get a lot more done, and we have a backlog of probably 50 to 100 hours of footage of doctors talking about various topics to get through.
It's exciting interviewing the doctors, but I remember we just went on what we called our East Coast tour. And at the end of the East Coast tour, I think Paul was starting to have like some anxiety because we had over 24 hours of new content, or even more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, every trip, we did like 2 or 3 trips this year, maybe 4 trips, and every trip is several hours of footage. And so that gives me huge anxiety, because I'm like, how are we going to publish all this in time for the next trip? So we keep building a bigger backlog, and we're working on publishing faster, and we're coming up with creative ways to do that.
I was just going to say, to your credit, I think especially in this last year also, you have been able to find new and inventive ways to make that process faster. And Paul is really good at seeing a complicated process and trying to make it as simple as possible. So even though it gives him anxiety, he helps it so other people don't have anxiety. So thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
If you guys have any more questions, they would be happy to answer them. This is an exciting time. As Paul mentioned, we're switching over to a new platform that implements a lot of the suggestions that we've gotten from patients and care partners in the past, and it's really helpful to get your feedback and to be able to apply it so that we know that we're really reaching your needs. Cindy, how would have knowing this information, I'm trying to think of how to form this the right way. If you would have known everything that HealthTree University gives you, when you were first diagnosed or in that first year, how would that have helped you navigate your care?
I think it would have gotten me up to speed a lot faster. Much of what we have in HealthTree University might be somewhere else on the internet. But the beauty of HealthTree University is once you find it, and it's a trusted resource because who's giving you the information are the top doctors in the world, then I just have to sit and binge watch, like one after the other. Whereas when I was newly diagnosed, I would have to Google. I wanted to know information about this. And Dr. Google, we all know, is not the best doctor in the world. And then I would have to sort through that information and then figure out which is written on my level so I could understand it. And then sometimes I went to something and I didn't have access because it was a journal, or some things I went to were published in the 1980s. So yes, there was stuff, and I finally found that information, but it took me a while. So I'm not saying we have things that are exclusive, but it's organized. I was on a call the other day, and what they liked so much about it was that it was in a curriculum from the easy to hard. It was easily organized. It was in one place. So it's the information we have might not be new. It's the way it's organized and the way its usability and how you could educate yourself from beginning to end.
I completely agree. I know that we have huge fans of HealthTree University out there, so it's fine. Can you save your progress as you're going through? Does the system save your progress?
Yes, it does. We have had some issues. I see Vicki Jones is here, so she's reported to us that she's had issues with her progress being saved. We hear you, Vicki. You will get all your progress. As we're moving to the new platform, let us know how it's working for you, and we'll make sure that it's all the kinks are worked out.
Awesome.
So today or tomorrow, the new website will be up. Things will look a little bit different when you go to HealthTree University. And then if things aren't saving still, like sound an alarm bell, let me know, and we'll make sure you have my contact information at the end of this.
Yeah, I'll make sure to include both Cindy and Paul's contact information in our follow-up email that we send. Let's see. Jim says, HealthTree University is obviously a wonderful source of information. How can we promote it and make new patients aware of it? That's an excellent question.
We are, I thought I might show you this. We're working on a new promotional video. So if you want to, we can send this promotional video out once it's published to all the chapter members, and they can share it on their social media, maybe to their other myeloma friends. Should we show it?
Sure, if you want to show. I haven't seen it yet. You told me to watch it to ask me what do I think of it, but I've been a little busy, so I want to see it.
Well, let's get the feedback of everyone here too at the same time. I think that's fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear that?
No.
Sound.
Oh, because it's muted. That's why I was like, I can't hear it either.
Our techie guy over there.
Have you ever Googled your disease? Some sites provide clear information, while others can lead to confusion. As a new patient, you may feel overwhelmed with all the information out there. Even experienced patients may find it difficult to keep up with constant updates. HealthTree University has all the information you need to be informed and in charge of your care. HealthTree University is the first and only free comprehensive curriculum for myeloma patients and their caregivers. Who's teaching? We ask the top world-renowned myeloma doctors your myeloma questions. These doctors treat thousands of myeloma patients each year. They invent drugs and conduct clinical trials for the treatments used in myeloma. We filmed their answers to provide you with the best information in the world. We created hundreds of videos covering myeloma basics to more complex topics like genetics. With animations and graphics to simplify complex information, every patient can understand their disease. Each lesson is followed by quiz questions to test your understanding and help you learn. With HealthTree University, you can educate yourself before your doctor's appointment so that you can spend your clinic visit discussing your situation. Myeloma treatment options are rapidly evolving. HealthTree University stays up to date as the myeloma landscape changes. The future for myeloma patients is bright. Informed patients have better outcomes. Get informed and navigate your disease with greater confidence. Armed with information from HealthTree University, you can advocate for yourself and be in charge of your care. Visit university.healthtree.org and start watching today.
I like that. That
Yeah.
looked good. Yeah.
Not
So
bad.
we could use that to promote it, but I also think, just if you're talking to people that you're either mentoring or if you're answering people in an online support community, it'd be nice to refer them to HealthTree University video, or if someone's newly diagnosed, sometimes that's what I do. I said, check out the basic courses in HealthTree University. I think it's, people that know about it, share that information with others who share it with others, and it will become a valuable resource, fingers crossed.
I completely agree. That was a great video. I think it was a great job. And thank you again, Jim, for asking that question. Another thing is just continuing to share videos that you like about HealthTree University on social media, making sure that in your support groups, if you'd like to suggest a HealthTree University video or even reference your support groups to university.healthtree.org. And we have different pamphlets as well that's going to be included in the follow-up email. And if you want to share that pamphlet with your myeloma community, it includes information about HealthTree University and how to access that.
And we're also talking about, the coaches or maybe even people in this call, if they feel comfortable talking to their doctors about HealthTree University, sharing it with them. So when their doctors have a newly diagnosed patient, they could give them a handout showing that this is HealthTree University. They should feel comfortable that the information they're getting at HealthTree University is vetted information, and it might be a way to increase our outreach. We're working with other parts of the HealthTree Foundation in reaching out, especially to those community oncologists, and trying to provide some of the programs into their hands. So we're working.
Yeah, they're working hard. Paul, did you want to show something?
Yeah, if you want to share HealthTree University lessons to your friends or family, you can just click up here and right click and copy the link. And then you can put that on your Facebook or wherever else you want to send it.
Paul, I have a question that Audrey sparked. The new website, would you be able to sign in university.healthtree.org, or will there be a new way of accessing HealthTree University?
So right now you're seeing the old site when you go to university.healthtree.org, but today or tomorrow, this will be changed. So it goes to the new site when you go to this URL. So you guys won't have to do anything new. We'll do all the work.
Okay, that's good. And I also noticed, since I'm on the call with you and I have chemo brain, so sometimes I forget things, the faculty was in like a haphazard order. Would it be in alphabetical order so we could search faculty?
I think it's sorted by
Institution.
So
Okay.
so
can you
D.
do you think that next to faculty we could put arranged by institution. So people like me who can't figure that out very quickly know that their institution they could look up.
Yeah, we could do that. I think we could make this look a little nicer. But right now, as it is, it's in 2 columns. So you have A through M and then M through Z.
Okay, by institution.
Yeah, so A, B, C, D. So E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and so on.
Okay, I didn't figure out that part. And actually, I guess when doctors change institutions, we're going to have to change. I just saw one right now that we have to update.
Who's that?
Dr. Uzamani, I think, is no longer at Levine.
Oh, where'd he go?
I believe he's at Memorial Sloan Kettering now.
Okay.
And that's where we could use your help, guys, too. If you're seeing a doctor that moves from one place to another, you know, you could let us know so we could update where they are. So, because sometimes they do some changing around.
They do.
Awesome.
But stuff like that we can fix pretty quickly.
So I think we're gonna finish up if that's okay with everyone. And Paul, I'll take the screen over one more time just for the outro announcements. Thank you all for your support, your feedback, your questions. We really do appreciate that. Next month, you can join the Connect with the Myeloma Crowd chapter as the patient experience team shares HealthTree Care Hub features that you don't want to miss, such as treatment options, personalized clinical trials, the Twin Machine, and community forums. Another event that I wanted to bring to your attention was the Q&A with immunotherapy pioneer and Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Jim Allison. That will be on November 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern as a part of our immunotherapy treatment chapter. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to hear from this innovative man whose unconventional thinking led to the treatments that we now know as immunotherapy. You will have the opportunity to watch his documentary for free and then come to ask him your questions on November 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern. You can sign up today on the Myeloma Crowd site. And when these slides are sent out to you, you can just click on that link that we have there because it should be hyperlinked, and you can just register that way. You may be interested in other Myeloma Crowd community events that we have coming up. In just a couple hours, I will be meeting, or just a couple hours, I will be meeting the Mountain West Myeloma chapter, and we will be discussing why and how myeloma patients can stay as fit as possible with Huntsman Cancer Institute Power Program Coordinator Darren Walker. The 21st at 1 p.m., we will hear from myeloma veteran Jim Bond, and his name is really James Bond, and his wife Kathleen, as they share how they have kept hope alive through the many years of Jim's treatment and survivorship. Jim has been the recipient of 4 stem cell transplants and was patient 007 in the clinical trial that would eventually lead to the FDA approval of Velcade. Don't miss his fascinating story. And again, that's on the 21st as part of the newly diagnosed myeloma patients chapter. The 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern, we are going to hear from Dr. Samir Parekh and Oliver Van O'Kellen, who are myeloma specialists at COVID-19 hotspot Mount Sinai Health System in New York. They will share their research about how COVID-19 vaccines have affected myeloma patients and what we need to know about antibody responses in the myeloma population. This is an incredibly asked for topic. It's very pertinent, and thanks to Cindy for connecting us with these 2 doctors who are willing to come speak to us. We also have October 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern, the Minimal Residual Disease MRD chapter, a practical approach to MRD testing with clonoSEQ. And Adaptive Biotechnologies will come talk about how this sensitive test can help determine what your MRD status is and how you can work with your doctor moving forward with those test results. Another thanks to our community event sponsors, Bristol Myers Squibb, Takeda Oncology, Karyopharm Therapeutics, Adaptive Biotechnologies, Oncopeptides, Janssen Oncology, AbbVie, Sanofi, Amgen Oncology, and Genentech. And thank you to each of you for helping us build a strong myeloma crowd community. We appreciate you and hope that you have a great rest of your day. And thank you, Cindy and Paul, for your shared time and knowledge. Thank you.